There is a quiet moment every man encounters where he feels something shifting inside him, a whisper that says he has forgotten who he is, a moment where he realizes that he has traded his crown for comfort, his fire for approval, his strength for the soft praise of being liked. And in that moment, he senses a truth he has been avoiding. The trap was never outside, it was always within. Hold on, before we unlock the real power of semen retention, hit that subscribe button and join our Telegram channel, link in description. We drop daily wisdom, success tools, and energy secrets only shared there. Don't watch from the sidelines, become part of the movement. He looks back on his choices and recognizes the pattern, the way he bowed to desire, the way he drained his own energy in pursuit of validation, the way he handed over his power to the very people he hoped would lift him. And as he stands in that realization, something ancient stirs inside him, a reminder that a man is never destroyed in a single dramatic blow, but in 1,000 small acts of surrender. Every compliment he gave without meaning, every message he sent out of need, every night he weakened his own spirit for a moment of pleasure, these were not harmless moments, they were withdrawals, taken directly from the bank of his masculine force. And he begins to understand that the world did not break him. He broke himself through unconscious sacrifice. The truth hits him with the force of cold steel. He did not lose his confidence because life was unfair. He lost it because he worshipped what should have been admired. He knelt where he should have stood. He surrendered where he should have restrained. And once a man gives up restraint, the world takes everything that was once his. In that silent confrontation with himself, he realizes why his fire dimmed, why his focus shattered, why his mission dissolved like smoke. He had treated his desire as a master instead of a force that required discipline. He let his hunger dictate him instead of mastering the hunger itself. And when a man lives like that, he becomes predictable, drained, disposable. But as he sits in this truth, something powerful awakens, a spark, a memory of who he was supposed to be, a man designed for conquest, not compromise. A man built to channel energy, not leak it. A man forged for purpose, not dependency. And with that awakening comes clarity. The weakness he carried wasn't fate, it was a choice. He had fallen into the oldest trap known to men, the trap of worship, the trap of believing that beauty was salvation, the trap of thinking that losing himself was somehow noble, the trap of pouring his masculine strength into the hands of another, hoping she would rebuild him, and in doing so he murdered his own sovereignty with his own hands. Now he sees it clearly. The moment a man worships, he is no longer a man of direction. He becomes a man of drift. The moment he kneels emotionally, mentally, or physically, he stops being a force and becomes an accessory. The moment he pours out his energy without discipline, he becomes hollow, a shell carved by his own desires. Yet this realization does not break him, it resurrects him, because in the ashes of his weakness he finds the blueprint of a greater version of himself. A version that refuses to kneel. A version that chooses restraint, a version that learns the dark art of holding instead of spilling. The version of a man who practices semen retention, not as a trend, but as war. For the first time he understands what drained him was not just worship, it was wasted fire. Every release done without control. Every urge obeyed without reflection. Every night he gave his body a moment of pleasure, but robbed his future of momentum. These were not harmless habits, these were small funerals for his potential, and he refuses to hold another funeral. Now his journey begins with a single vow, a vow of reclamation, a vow to stop giving his energy to the world unchecked, a vow to rise in silence and rebuild what he carelessly scattered. He learns that retention is not about avoiding women or denying desire, it is about mastering the force within him that once ruled him. Men throughout history understood this instinctively. They guarded their life force as if it were sacred. They knew their power came not from indulgence but from restraint. They became sharper thinkers, stronger fighters, more dangerous leaders because they held what average men wasted, and now he joins them, not through bloodline but through discipline. The world may laugh at restraint, the weak may mock the idea of holding back, the undisciplined may claim indulgence as freedom, but he knows better now. He has seen the cost of a man who spills his power for temporary pleasure. He has witnessed his former self kneeling before beauty, hoping for respect that never arrives, and he refuses to return to that grave. As he steps onto this new path, he notices the shift quickly. His eyes sharpen, his posture strengthens, his ambition reawakens, the fog lifts. He feels hunger again, but not the desperate kind. A controlled hunger, the hunger of a man preparing for war. And the world around him senses the change even before he fully embodies it. Women feel the difference instantly, not because he tries harder, but because he needs nothing. He does not chase, he does not worship, he does not overgive. His energy is contained, and that containment creates gravity. He becomes a man who attracts without effort, a man whose presence speaks louder than his words, a man who carries silent fire. This is because retention transforms desire into fuel instead of collapsing for pleasure. He converts desire into discipline. Instead of drowning in temptation, he channels it into creation. Instead of weakening from lust, he strengthens through mastery. And this mastery becomes his edge in every battlefield of life. He understands now that a woman respects desire but not dependence. She respects admiration but not worship. She respects connection but not collapse. She respects the man who wants her but never abandons himself for her. And semen retention carves him into that man, day by day, week by week, drop by, unspent drop. The worshiper version of him once feared. Losing her, this new version fears losing himself, and that shift alone changes everything. Where he once chased, he now chooses. Where he once begged, he now decides. Where he once submitted, he now stands. A man who stands is always respected. A man who kneels never is. He begins to operate from abundance, not lack from power, not desperation. His silence becomes stronger than his past words. His boundaries become clearer than any speech. His absence becomes more valuable than his old presence. Because he is no longer available to the world in pieces, he is whole, and a whole man is rare. He stops building shrines to anyone and begins building an empire within himself. He stops offering his energy as payment for affection and invests it into his strength, his craft, his body, his mission. His entire identity shifts from seeker to sovereign, and sovereignty cannot be faked, it must be forged. The world tests him, of course. Old habits tempt him. Old desires whisper, old pleasures call. But he now understands that discipline is not the absence of temptation, but the refusal to kneel to it. He sees each challenge as a sharpening stone, and each refusal becomes another brick in the fortress of his masculinity. Where he once indulged, he now observes. Where he once reacted, he now responds. Where he once surrendered, he now strategizes. His self-control becomes his armor, his restraint becomes his weapon, his discipline becomes his crown, and slowly he becomes dangerous. Again, not recklessly dangerous, but attractively dangerous. He learns that true masculinity is not loud, it is controlled. True strength is not aggression, it is command. True power is not domination, it is direction, and retention gifts him this direction. The ability to channel himself towards something greater than pleasure, something greater than approval, something worthy of his life force. His focus intensifies, his work improves, his presence deepens, his goals no longer feel optional, they feel inevitable. He begins moving through life like a man who knows where he is going, and the world steps aside for men like that, because purpose is louder than charm and mission is stronger than lust. He becomes the man who can look temptation in the eye and smile, a man who can engage with women without collapsing into need. A man who can feel desire but remain unmoved by it, a man who chooses consciously instead of surrendering unconsciously, and that kind of man is unforgettable. Now he sees why worship destroys respect. It is the death of polarity, the death of tension, the death of masculine energy. Worship suffocates mystery and kills the spark. Women do not desire men who kneel, they desire men who stand firm, men who remain sovereign, men who hold themselves even in the presence of beauty. And retention ensures he never collapses again. It keeps his spine straight, his eyes clear, his will intact. He becomes a man who sees women not as salvation but as companions, to be cherished from strength, not weakness. He becomes capable of love without losing himself, desire without dissolving, discipline without repression. When two sovereigns meet, fire meets fire, not one bowing to the other, but both rising through each other, this is the kind of bond. He is now capable of creating, not from worship, but from strength, not from desperation, but from truth, not from collapse, but from clarity. As he continues his journey, he begins to notice something profound. His old self feels foreign now. The man who begged, the man who overgave, the man who spilled his energy without thought, the man who confused attention with love. That man is gone, buried inside the discipline of retention, replaced by a version that commands respect without requesting it. At this point, his mind sharpens into something relentless. His purpose takes shape like a blade being forged. His ambitions grow fangs. His spirit grows armor. He moves like someone who has remembered the secret that men throughout ages once guarded. You become unstoppable the moment you stop kneeling to your desires. His energy no longer leaks from him. It radiates. His silence feels authoritative. His presence feels magnetic. His decisions feel final. The world senses a man who cannot be bought by beauty or bent by temptation. This is rare, and rarity creates power. He now understands that the masculine path is not to chase softness, but to build sharpness. The goal is not pleasure, but potency, not surrender, but strength. Not escape, but expansion, and semen retention gives him the raw material needed to expand beyond his former limits. In mind, body, will, and mission. He no longer wastes his essence on meaningless release, because he recognizes it for what it truly is. Not just fluid, but fuel. Not just biology, but power. Not just pleasure, but life force. He becomes a guardian of his own fire, and fire guarded becomes fire amplified. As the days pass, he feels his power accumulating quietly. His confidence rises without effort. His creativity accelerates. His intuition strengthens. His aggression becomes controlled. His emotional stability deepens. He no longer needs affirmation from anyone because his energy validates him from within. He becomes the kind of man who speaks less but commands more. The kind who moves with calm certainty, the kind who enters a room and shifts the atmosphere, the kind who can hold himself in any situation without losing his center. And this centeredness becomes the very thing women respect most. For women instinctively gravitate toward men who control themselves more than they control circumstances. A man who governs his own energy becomes a man who can govern his world, and semen retention trains him in that governance like nothing else can. There is a deeper layer to this transformation, a spiritual one. When he holds his seed, he holds his intention. When he holds his intention, he holds his direction. When he holds his direction, he holds his destiny. And destiny bows only to men who command themselves fully. He becomes immune to chaos, immune to manipulation, immune to emotional storms. He becomes a mountain in human form, unshaken by temptation, unbroken by rejection, unharmed by loss. He becomes a man whose strength is not given by the world but built from within. Now he understands what real freedom is: not indulgence, but command; not pleasure, but purpose; not release, but rise. He no longer worships anything outside himself because he no longer needs anything outside himself. He has become self-generating, a source of power and motion. And finally, he steps into the truth that completes his transformation. A man's value does not come from who he pleases, but from who he becomes. A man's strength does not come from how much he gives away, but from how much he preserves. A man's respect does not come from worship, but from sovereignty. If this video gave you real value, tap the thanks button. Your support helps me keep creating deeper content like this. Every thanks is a spark that keeps this mission alive. Your support means more than you know. He has now mastered the energy that once mastered him. He stands not as a servant to desire, but as its commander. He is no longer a man drained by impulse, but a man defined by discipline. He is not the worshiper he once was. He is the sovereign he was meant to be. He walks forward with a calm fire, knowing one truth with absolute clarity. Retention did not just give back his strength, it returned his throne.